At 10:50 local time, an Iranian Navy helicopter approached the USS Fitzgerald with a mission to force the American destroyer to change course and prove Tehran still controls these waters. What happened next showed that Iran could do more damage with harsh language than 1960s military hardware. Inside the destroyer's Combat Information Center, American sailors watched their spy radar screens with a mixture of amusement and disbelief. The most advanced naval radar system ever built, designed to track ballistic missiles in space, is now watching what amounts to a flying museum piece attempting to intimidate a 10,000-ton warship. The Iranian helicopter you see here has a specific mission: gather intelligence on American naval operations, force the destroyer to change course so Tehran can claim it controls these waters, and create a propaganda victory to offset the humiliation of having its nuclear program turned to dust by B-2 bombers. It's a playbook from the 1980s tanker wars. Use small, expendable assets to harass larger vessels, hoping to provoke an overaction they can exploit diplomatically. But this isn't 1987, and the Fitzgerald isn't some merchant tanker. The Fitzgerald represents everything that makes the United States Navy the undisputed master of the world's oceans. This Arleigh Burke-class destroyer carries 90 vertical launch cells loaded with missiles that can reach out and touch someone at more than 90 nautical miles. Its 4 gas turbine engines generate 100,000 shaft horsepower, propelling the ship at speeds over 30 knots. The Aegis combat system at its heart can simultaneously track over 100 targets while guiding dozens of missiles to their destinations. The system assigns the helicopter Track 0341, and the threat library immediately identifies it as a 1970s anti-submarine warfare platform export variant. Priority: negligible. The computer has already calculated 47 different engagement solutions using various weapons. In wartime, this ends in 30 seconds. Spy locks onto the target, fire control illuminator paints it. SM-2 launches, helicopter becomes aluminum rain. And now, this pinnacle of American naval engineering is being approached by a helicopter that Iran bought from America before their Islamic Revolution, back when disco was still popular. The Iranian helicopter's APN-130 Doppler radar, technology from the Vietnam War, is painting its position to every American sensor within 200 miles. The Fitzgerald's Slick 32 electronic warfare suite begins cataloging every emission from the approaching aircraft. Think of it as a digital fingerprint collector for enemy electronics. The system captures frequency, pulse repetition rate, signal strength, building a unique electromagnetic signature for this specific helicopter. It's like recording someone's voice to identify them later. Every radar pulse, every radio transmission, even the helicopter's navigation beacons get logged into a threat library. This data becomes ammunition for electronic warfare. Next time American forces encounter this helicopter type, their jammers will know exactly which frequencies to target, which signals to spoof, and how to blind its sensors. What takes 60 seconds to analyze today becomes instant recognition tomorrow. The Iranians are essentially teaching the Americans how to defeat them, one electromagnetic emission at a time. Inside the helicopter, the Iranian crew fights their own equipment as much as they fight the wind. The cyclic stick vibrates from worn rotor bearings that should have been replaced during the Clinton administration. Warning lights flicker on the instrument panel. Most have been disconnected because replacement parts haven't existed since the Shah fell. The pilot checks his fuel gauge and does quick math. At this burn rate, fighting the headwind and trying to match the destroyer's speed, they have maybe 45 minutes on station before they need to turn back. That's if both engines keep running. The Aegis system has already calculated 47 different ways to destroy the helicopter using SM-2 surface-to-air missiles. Each missile costs more than the helicopter's worth, travels at Mach 3.5, and can pull 10 Gs in terminal maneuvering. The helicopter's maximum speed is 140 knots in a dive. It's not just a mismatch, it's a joke. But the Iranians don't see it that way. Tehran has ordered them to confront the American warship, to show the world that the Arabian Gulf is their personal kiddie pool. So here they are, flying a helicopter older than most of their crew members, approaching a destroyer that could turn them into fish food without breaking a sweat. The radar operator reports the helicopter's approach vector to the bridge. The officer of the deck acknowledges with the same tone used for reporting dolphins or floating trash. The close-in weapon system automatically tracks the helicopter but doesn't bother to elevate its barrels. Why would it? The system is designed to destroy supersonic missiles. Tracking this subsonic antique is like using a supercomputer to play tic-tac-toe. As the helicopter closes to within 10 miles, the intelligence team gets excited. Not because of any threat, but because this is a golden opportunity to update their threat libraries. It's Christmas morning for the information warfare officer. But the Iranians were about to discover that approaching an American destroyer was the easy part. Staying airborne would prove far more challenging. The Iranian pilot pushes his collective forward, diving the SH-3 toward the destroyer in what he believes is an aggressive attack profile. The helicopter drops to 500 feet above the waves, its 1960s airframe groaning under the stress. This is textbook Iranian harassment tactics. Fly low to appear threatening, make close passes to provoke a response, and use civilian frequencies to claim innocence if engaged. The goal is to create footage showing the helicopter dominating an American warship, something Tehran can broadcast as proof that they still control the Gulf despite their nuclear program being turned into a parking lot. Through the scratched plexiglass windscreen, the pilot can see the USS Fitzgerald maintaining its course, not even bothering to adjust speed. The destroyer's wake churns the sea behind it. Just another day in the Gulf. American warship, you are approaching Iranian territorial waters. Change course immediately. The pilot's accented English cracks through the radio static. American warship, you are approaching Iranian territorial waters. Change course immediately. The pilot's accented English crackles through radio static. The Fitzgerald's communications team records every word while trying not to laugh. The destroyer's been operating in international waters all morning and everyone knows it. But just to make them mad, they have a female sailor get on the radio to respond. As this exchange is going on, the intelligence collection opportunity is too good to pass up. The SLQ-32 begins a full-spectrum analysis of the helicopter's emissions. The Iranians are using commercial aviation frequencies for their military communications. No encryption, no frequency hopping, nothing that would challenge a Radio Shack scanner from 1985. Every emission recorded builds a targeting database for future encounters. The operator notes specific frequencies: 121.5 MHz emergency, 243.0 MHz military emergency, and various VHF maritime channels. All of it cataloged, analyzed, and stored. Next time an Iranian aircraft uses these frequencies, American jammers will shut them down in seconds. Through the magic of Link 16 Tactical Data Link, every American asset sees this comedy in real time. Think of Link 16 as a military WhatsApp group where everyone sees the same picture instantly. The system uses time division multiple access. Basically, everyone takes turns talking in millisecond intervals, so nobody talks over each other. Each participant gets specific time slots to transmit, all encrypted with NSA-approved crypto. That's military-grade encryption so secure, it would take every computer on Earth thousands of years to crack a single message. The NSA tests and certifies these encryption algorithms to ensure even America's most sophisticated adversaries can't listen in. The Fitzgerald shares track 0341 to a cruiser 50 nautical miles away, the carrier 200 miles out, and every other surface combatant and aircraft in between. Everyone has the same picture, the same firing solution, and the same ability to engage. If this were an actual war, that helo would have been Swiss cheese 6 different ways by now. Inside the helicopter, the crew chief watches the fuel gauge drop like a stone. Trying to keep pace with a destroyer doing 30 knots is burning their reserves at an alarming rate. The port engine oil pressure gauge flutters in the yellow zone. These General Electric T-58 engines were magnificent in their day, 1,400 horsepower each when new. But that day was during the Johnson administration. Now, they wheeze like a retiree climbing a flight of stairs. The Fitzgerald's bridge team treats the helicopter flyover with the same concern they'd show for a seagull. The CWIS operator uses this opportunity to practice manual tracking. The fire control computer runs the numbers. At 500 feet range, 110-knot closure speed, 30-degree crossing angle, the solution is elementary. A 1.2-second burst, 94 rounds, 98% probability of catastrophic target destruction. The 20mm Gatling gun can fire 4,500 rounds per minute, creating a wall of tungsten that nothing can penetrate. Against a helicopter moving at 110 knots, it would be like using a minigun on a paper airplane. The operator doesn't even remove the system from standby mode. The destroyer's executive officer arrives in the Combat Information Center, or CIC, to observe the intelligence bonanza. Are they really using clear voice comms, he asks. The TAO, the on-duty officer in charge of the CIC, nods grinning. Sir, I can tell you what the pilot had for breakfast. He's been complaining about his wife's chicken curry on Channel 16. The XO, the Fitzgerald's second-in-command, shakes his head. The Iranian helicopter makes another pass, this time from the stern. The pilot can see sailors on deck continuing their maintenance work, not even looking up. One sailor waves, the kind of wave you give to tourists. The insult burns worse than any weapon could. The Americans aren't even taking them seriously enough to go to general quarters. The Fitzgerald defensive systems remain in standby. Why waste electricity? The ship's combat systems are designed to handle saturation attacks from dozens of supersonic missiles simultaneously. Against one subsonic helicopter that's burning so much oil it's leaving a smoke trail, it'd be like how the Mike Tyson versus Logan Paul fight should have gone down. And this time the fight ain't rigged. The Iranian pilot keys his radio one more time, voice cracking with desperation. This is your final warning. Change course now. The only problem is he says it with as much authority as a toddler protesting nap time. This is the real Iranian mission revealing itself. Record audio of warnings to American warships. Claim they defended sovereign waters. Create propaganda to boost morale after their entire military got deleted in 12 days. It's not about actually threatening the destroyer. It's about creating content for state television. The Fitzgerald's bridge team doesn't even acknowledge the transmission. They're busy with actual navigation, preparing for a course change that has nothing to do with the helicopter. The tactical mismatch becomes even more apparent when you understand American naval defense doctrine. The Fitzgerald operates with 3 engagement zones. SM-2 missiles reach out 90 miles for long-range interception. ESSM covers medium range at 27 miles, and CWIS provides point defense for the final mile. If this were a war, that Iranian helicopter couldn't even reach the outer defensive perimeter. It's like trying to storm a castle while you're stuck in the parking lot. Inside the SH-3, reality is setting in. The fuel gauge shows 800 pounds of fuel remaining, barely enough to make it back to base if they leave now. The port engine oil pressure has dropped into the red zone, and the engine temperature is climbing. The helicopter is literally falling apart in mid-flight, held together by Persian prayers and duct tape. The crew chief taps the pilot's shoulder and points at the gauges. The message is clear. They need to leave before they become a rescue mission. The destroyer makes its scheduled course adjustment, a routine navigational correction to the next waypoint. The Iranian pilot sees the turn and immediately declares victory over the radio. The American warship is retreating. The mighty Islamic Republic has defended its waters. Back in the CIC, the intelligence team makes sure they're recording. This will be comedy gold at the Ops Intel brief. Within hours, Iranian state media will transform this nothing burger into an epic victory. Dramatic music will accompany grainy footage of the helicopter forcing the American destroyer to change course. Tehran will claim they've proven American vulnerability, shown the world that Iran can still project power. The reality, that they risked an irreplaceable aircraft to slightly inconvenience a morning watch team, won't make the broadcast. Bye for now.